Welcome fellow Kiss fans, welcome to It's All For You Demon, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And tonight just wanted to give you a quick channel update, a future update, and then the video that was supposed to come out a couple weeks ago, just some what if Kiss fun. First off, a channel update. A few weeks ago left a comment on the channel that I'm gonna split for a while due to some real life stuff, and basically, long story, very short, there was an accident in our neighborhood and my house has kind of been turned upside down. The Wax Night basement as we know it no longer exists. The Wax Night basement has turned into this. And I was talking to my buddy FL Dog and Dan about this, and it's kind of odd when you have a Kiss room or a man cave, whatever your hobby is, if you have like a sacred space that you retreat to, once that's gone, you feel weird. Like it is a complete void. I have not felt myself for the past 3 weeks, and I feel like any urge of creativity I have is gone. And so, no videos. I have felt an inkling of creativity on my Instagram page, which I started just like a week ago, kind of doing like a dog kiss post every day. That's at least giving me that creative satisfaction. So that brings us to the future of this channel, and there probably will not be many videos in November unless I fully get like a bug of creativity and I film a video up here. It just, to me, it just doesn't feel the same as being in the Wax Night basement. The Wax Night basement drew that Kiss creativity out of me, and like I said, it's slowly coming back on my Instagram, but November we may not get a lot of It's All For You Demon videos. However, first week of December we are going to New York to see the final Kiss show, so there will be plenty of New York City fun throughout December. So moving into 2024, I was talking to Dan about, you know, the end of Kiss and the end of Kiss touring, and also the end of the Wax Night basement and the fact that I don't have my sacred space anymore. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that that is really what it was like, minus the Kiss part. That is really what it was like in the late 80s when we first became fans. It was just Danny and I. We had maybe a cassette tape and a magazine, and that was it. And that was the fandom. It was just me, my best friend, and this idea of Kiss. Combined with that, we had a lot of fun doing our milestone video a few weeks ago where we talked about our trip to New York City and what we want out of that. So, the conclusion is, in 2024, Dan is going to co-host It's All For You Demon with me. As much as we can, we are going to have Dan, myself, Pee-wee here, and we're going to wax Kiss, and it's going to be in the new Wax Night basement, Wax Night Basement 2.0, that we can actually design as we want to, and it's going to be even more 70s, even more your grandma's house, and even more fun with Dan. So that's the future of this channel. Not much in November, December, lots of New York fun, and then moving forward to next year, Dan, myself, and Pee-wee, a man, his best friend, and his dogs, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. So right now, the video that should have came out a couple weeks ago, some what if fun from 1979. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for allowing me to provide this update and the future. I hope you stick around. It's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun. So now, the video that should have came out a couple weeks ago, which is technically the last time you will ever see the original Wax Night basement. Welcome fellow Kiss fans, welcome to It's All For You Demon, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And tonight I had some fun 1979, I don't want to say Dynasty because I don't want to scare anyone off. I talk about Dynasty way too much this year. I have some fun 1979 Dynasty things to, what's going on up there, to look at tonight. Super fun, but I'm gonna take a spin on it and talk Fantasy Kiss Land.
A few moments later.
Finally settled. I'm gonna talk what if Kiss would have done a double record in 1979 versus the single record Dynasty. You gotta admit, Kiss was on a double record hot face trip. 1977 on, 1977 Alive 2, 1978 double platinum, 1978, if you want to call it what it is, 4 record set. Then 1979 we went back to single records. What if they would have done a double record in 1979? It's Fantasyland time, folks. Pee-wee says, let's do it. First up on the fun side of 1979, the Ecuador pressing of Dynasty. I love foreign pressings as is, but anytime a foreign pressing has an oddity or like a variation to the cover that we're used to, I really like it, especially when the title is in a foreign language. That's perfect. If it's not, a lot of times it just looks like a normal US pressing. So I like the oddities added in, like little extra blurbs of Kiss fun. The Peter Criss Out of Control Mexico is a perfect example of that. It has that ex-drummer of Kiss semi sort of hype sticker that's not a sticker, it's actually printed on the cardboard in the corner. That just adds to the fun of this release. And on a side note, for Out of Control, on the back you actually get a Peter Criss solo album picture. That's even more fun. That just doubles your fun right there. This is a great piece to add to your collection if you're into foreign pressings, and especially if you're into foreign pressings that are totally different than the US pressing. And that's what always drew me to this Ecuador pressing, is the Casablanca. Again, these look like stickers, but they're not. They're actually printed on the cardboard. The Casablanca hype sticker on the left and the Ecuadorian hype sticker on the right. Here's a good look at the Casablanca label, and then on the right here it says the catalog number and compatible in stereo. And then on the back you have all of the song titles in Spanish as well as in English, and anytime that happens is a big plus for me. Like I said, I just love when the covers are different or the center rings with the other country's language on the record, because again, and I know that this is silly, but my love of these foreign pressings and like the different languages on the cover and center ring, it all goes back to high school for me. When I was 17 years old, collecting that back catalog on CD, holding a Dynasty CD in St. Joseph, Missouri, it never even dawned on me that there were also releases in other countries. I know that's silly, but as a naive teenager, kind of in your own little small town world, you don't think of the entire world. And when I first discovered that foreign pressings existed for Kiss with completely different album titles than I was ever used to, I was sold. Hook, line, and sinker. This opened up my Kiss collecting world. I've never done drugs, but I guess it'd be like doing drugs or eating M&Ms or Lay's potato chips. You can't just have one. You gotta go for them all. And that is also why I'm focused on Dynasty. Dynasty is my favorite record. It's the only record I don't skip a track at all. Rock and Roll Over would be my 1.2 favorite record. Right up there with Dynasty, just an absolute tie. But I do skip a track on Rock and Roll Over. Apologies to Peter Criss fans. But I was like, I will go broke if I try to get every foreign pressing of every record in this catalog, so I'll focus on one record being my favorite record, and it's Dynasty. Here's a better look at those song titles on the back in Spanish. Still says Dynasty on the back cover, but we do strike some fun with the center ring. So there's the center ring actually stating Dynastia and those Spanish titles. Side 2 center ring. I know this is geek stuff, but man, this is what makes it all fun. And that's what this is all about. Everything about Kiss should be fun. And as I said in the intro, it seemed like after Love Gun, Kiss was super hot-faced on double records. In reality, there was only 2. So it really wasn't that bad. But if you think about the machine of Kiss at the time, you had Rock and Roll Over and Destroyer in the same year, 76. Then you had all the merchandising. Then you had a Love Gun, add in all that merchandising again. Then you had Alive 2, which was a double record. Then in 78, you had Double Platinum, which was another double record and even more merchandising. I think kind of a dickish move because parents were shelling out money hand over fist. Christmas, birthdays, back to school time, posters on kids' walls, comic books, dolls, lunchboxes, things that would make this man go crazy. I need more money. So in Fantasyland, I'm thinking, why stop? Why not in 1979, after you've just released 4 records that most boys and girls had to buy all 4, A, to get the jigsaw puzzles, and they wanted the bag. So why not in 1979, instead of releasing Dynasty as a single album, release a double album? What are you going to make the second record? Boom, insert Best of the Solo Albums, which was never released in the US. Perfect. Sure, it's 1979. Sure, all of those solo albums are now in bargain bins, discount prices, just to get them out of the store. But why not try to squeeze a little more out of these solo albums and make Dynasty, the return of Kiss, a double record with the best of the solo albums? The end of 1978, you probably had every boy and girl in small town America thinking Kiss was breaking up because of the solo albums. You do the return of Kiss propaganda machine to get them to believe the band is not breaking up. And why not celebrate a little fun from those solo records? I know it's silly, and I know it probably has a lot of holes in the Fantasyland idea, but I like it. I think Dynasty would have been fun with Best of the Solo Albums. Maybe Dynasty wouldn't have gotten the disco stamp so bad and labeled as a piece of trash like everyone likes to talk about Dynasty, minus myself, and make it a double record with Best of the Solo Albums. Now let's talk a little bit about Best of the Solo Albums. Now, Best of the Solo Albums was released in German pressing, Argentina pressing, Chile pressing, French pressing, and Australia pressing. Technically, Best of the Solo Albums would have been the first foreign pressing I ever got as a teenager. And I remember Danny and I found it on vinyl when we first started going to like record shops. I would have been like 19. This would have been 1992-ish. And I don't even think we realized it was a foreign pressing. We just liked it because of the altered logo. We knew that altered logo was for Germany, but I don't think it dawned on us that this was a German pressing. And here's just some cringe moments. Look at the Scotch tape marks on the back around Paul, Ace, and Alive 2. Probably in college, I Scotch taped this album cover to my wall because I thought the album cover was cool, so I Scotch taped it to my wall. There you go. Things your 49-year-old self cringes at and wishes there was a time machine to go back and not mess things up so bad. But on the other hand, that's the fun of collecting, right? We all make mistakes. We all do stupid stuff. That's the fun of being a Kiss fan. Now for me, the Australian pressing, that is where it's at. That is the Kool-Aid fun of Kiss foreign pressings for Best of the Solo Albums. That font on the top, even though this was 1978, that font on the top is so 1980s. And you can just smell the disco arcade fun of the 80s. Like, it makes me think of Young and the Restless. And that's another reason I love the Australian pressing so much. Side 1 starts out with Paul, and it starts out with the cheesiest of cheese songs from his solo album that I absolutely love. It does not get any better than that. Who amongst us does not hear the beauty of that intro piano and imagine Melissa down on her luck, leaving the park. She hasn't found Sam. She's getting booted out by the security cops, but she's not giving up. And that song, the beauty. So of the pressings I own of Best of the Solo Albums, German and Australian, I love the Australian the most. Best of the Solo Albums is a perfect fall record, especially October at night. Make some grape Kool-Aid, put this record on, and escape to Kiss Fantasyland, which would have been awesome if Dynasty would have been a double album with Best of the Solo. Perfect. And as you can see, the Halloween decorations are up. I still have to do the monsters over there by that lamp. Still a Phantom of the Park display as we speak, but thank you for hanging with us tonight and waxing a little rock and roll nostalgia with us here in the Wax Night basement. Be good to your babies. Spay, neuter, microchip. Take care, be safe. We will talk to you soon.